I'm Justin Moschcau with Jam Audio Video. We specialize in video production, whether it's commercial or live event.
My name is Russ Derfy. I work for Aquazona Kinetical Water Systems. I'm a water specialist. I've been in the water business for 42 years. I specialize in water treatment, whole house filters, drinking systems, and water softeners.
Cool. So probably the first thing is, like you've got on your list, is what is hard water? That must be kind of the foundation.
Yes. So hard water is that's that white crud stuff that you see on your faucets and fixtures. It's a product out here in the Arizona. It's calcium and magnesium that's in the water. Calcium and magnesium sticks to things. It makes a problem. It causes issues with the plumbing, the fixtures, faucets, laundry, dishes, all of that kind of stuff. So when they rate hard water, they do it by a grains per gallon. How many grains of hardness are in 1 gallon of water? Anything above 10 grains is extremely hard water. So we see in the valley from 7 to 8 grains to 35 to 40. What a grain is, for every grain, you're going to have 15 pounds of solids every year. So on average, we're here in Gilbert, 15 grains is what they typically have in Gilbert, 15 to 20. So at 15, you're going to have 225 pounds every year of that white calcium and magnesium. That's hard water.
Is it different between, you say Gilbert, so then Mesa, Scottsdale, Phoenix, are they different?
Even within the different cities, those numbers change because every city has multiple wells and well sources, and so it changes. So we test at every house, even if it's within a block or two of where I was just testing, because it can be different. Even within same neighborhoods and same subdivisions, it can be different houses. So we see that range going on. Mesa, we see from 10 to 20 grains. Gilbert, I see from about 12 to 20 is where we're at. Buckeye's one of the worst cities. Goodyear's pretty bad. I mean, so there's some areas that we know and we pay a little more attention to it. So.
And that's coming out of the ground, like the wells.
Yes.
That's not like it goes through the treatment plant and then come back out.
It does go through the treatment plant. They take it to a treatment plant and they bring it back, but it's still a little different depending on where it was sourced from, which well it came out of.
Interesting. And it's calcium, you said.
Calcium and magnesium.
So if I drink the water, though, that'd be good for my bones?
No. Here's the problem. Calcium and magnesium, and that's a misunderstanding, is people think, hey, water softener is going to take all the calcium and magnesium out. Same with an RO. We need calcium and magnesium in our body. We do, but it has to be sourced from the right source. Calcium and magnesium that comes from the ground is from the soil. It's inorganic. It's not good for you. The type of calcium and magnesium our bodies can absorb is organic, that comes from plant matter. So when we have hard water, it's going to cause other issues. Arizona has a 40 to 50% higher rate of gallstones and kidney stones than the rest of the country. And there was a report in the medical journal that said it's your hard water that's causing that. Because if that white stuff's sticking to your fixtures and faucets, what do you think it's doing to your body? It's going to build up in places where it shouldn't and cause problems. And some people are more susceptible to that. So we want to remove the calcium magnesium, not only to protect your fixtures and faucets, but also protect your health and your body and stuff. So, and then you need to get minerals from another source that are going to be organic, that come from plant matter, not from the soil.
So would it get like caught in your arteries?
Oh yeah,
that type of thing.
Yeah, but mainly as your body's trying to purge it out. It's the kidneys, it's the liver, it's the gallbladder. That's where all those things are settling in, and that's where it can cause. So it builds up, just like it builds up on your shower head and on the shower glass. It's going to build up like that. So.
Say my kidney probably looks like my shower head.
Yeah.
I filter my water though, so
it could.
Luckily, does it matter what filter?
Absolutely. So there's lots of different types of filters that you can put on thing. You can put on a whole house filter that's mainly just removes chlorine. It's going to take out the chlorine and bad taste, because that's how the cities treat it. They don't care how hard the water is. They don't care how high the total dissolved solids are. That's a whole nother conversation. But their main concern is that nobody gets sick. So they're obligated to treat it. They treat it by adding chlorine, tons of chlorine. There's almost 2 to 3 times the amount of chlorine in your water than there is in your swimming pool, because the cities just dump it, dump it, dump it. They just put so much chlorine in the water to try and make sure that it's safe to drink. They're going to kill any bacteria and stuff that are in the water. So
That's pretty terrible.
So a whole house filter will remove the chlorine. A water softener will remove the hardness and take the hardness down. So soft water on that same scale, 10 being extremely hard water, is 0 to 1 grains is when we rate soft water. So a typical water softener, you'll see anywhere from 0 to 3 to 4 to 5 grains of hardness in the water. So because they work most of the time, they do a decent job. A salt-free system will only reduce the hardness at best to 0 to 1 because it doesn't use any salt. The way a water softener works is a water softener has a big tank filled with resin. Resin is a synthetic sand. There's a zillion little beads inside that tank. On the resin is the salt. So when the water flows past it, there's an ion exchange. All the hard minerals cling to the resin. It releases the sodium back into the water, making the water soft. When it says, hey, I'm done, I need to regenerate, every electric system on the market has to wait till 1 o'clock in the morning. So they go into a reserve capacity. Hopefully that reserve will last until 1 o'clock. If not, sometimes you start to get hard water. That's the difference between 0 to 3 to 5. When they say, when it gets to 1 o'clock, it'll use 60 gallons of water to rinse and 10 pounds of salt. Typically take 1.5 hours to 2 hours to do that. It does it in the middle of the night, so hopefully it won't interrupt your supply of water. Good systems. There's 100 different versions of those electric water softeners, but there's 3 types of control heads: a fleck, a clack, and an auto troll.
Do you just make those up?
No, those are the actual names of those type of the type of control heads. Yet there's 100 companies that sell them. They slap their own labels on them. They put them out there, and they're good systems. The salt-free systems. A salt-free basically is just a big carbon tank. Some of them have electrical charge that go in to try to break up the molecular structure. Some mix some resin back in there, but the resin is very short-lived because it's not being recharged by adding salt put to it to help break it up. So resin, the way the resin works on a water softener, it's all these little beads. On the resin is the salt. It has to, all the hard minerals cling to it, releases that sodium. So as long as that's being cleaned on a salt-free system, if they have resin, it's just helping. It might reduce it by 1 or 2 grains, but there's no salt to exchange. There's no ion exchange going on with that type of a system. So they're good filters. Those were designed for places like Seattle, Washington, and Portland, Oregon, where the water's naturally soft, 1 to 3 grains hard, not 8 to 30 grains hard like we have out here. So, and their TDS is under 100, so you can drink it from the tap, better than most waters that we have out here, even most bottled waters. But they still have a lot of chlorine, so they put in a system that'll just remove the chlorine and reduce the hardness by 1 grain or so, and it works. So those were designed for. But then these companies come out here and try to sell them out here because people want a no salt. They don't want to use salt. Oh my gosh, salt's bad for us. And so they want this no salt system, and basically it's just removing the chlorine. I deal with it every day. I go into houses. I was at one yesterday. They bought a $6,000 system that they put in on their brand new. They just remodeled their house, new fixtures, faucets, and they're already within 3-4 weeks. They've got garbage everywhere building up on the stuff, and they're just like, we were told this would work, that it's going to change the molecular structure. It breaks it up so it doesn't stick to anything. But we obviously showed them it's not going to do that. It's not going to remove. We got to remove it. We need to get it out of there. So a salt-free system will filter, removes. There was no chlorine, but there was still all the hardness.
Is that like essentially kind of having like a Brita filter?
Yes. So a Brita filter or a refrigerator filter for the whole house is what that is. So you can drink it from every faucet. There are companies out there that claim they're going to give you this beautiful purified water from every faucet. So there's a difference between filtered water and purified water. Filtered water means you've ran it through a carbon filter. You could run it through a bag of socks and it would filter that out. I do a test where I show the chlorine that's in the water. Then I take that same water, another sample of it, and put my fingers in it for 10 seconds and then pull it out and test for chlorine. 90% of the time, there's no chlorine left because it absorbed into my skin, because our bodies are filters. So if we're showering without that, it gets in your skin and hair, you're breathing it in, it gets on your clothes, and it causes dry skin, eczema, other issues like that. It can flare up because of the chlorine that's in the water. So just removing that is helpful. And I even recommend to people that live in apartments and stuff that can't put a system in and they're kind of stuck. Get a Brita filter to put in your fridge, buy a little countertop system, something like that that you can just have for your drinking water, but then put a shower head in. Go to Home Depot, spend 40, 50 bucks and buy a nice shower head that has a filter in it that you can change the cartridge out every month or so. That'll at least remove the chlorine from the water you're showering with, so you're not absorbing it. Bring that in. There was a report a few years ago in the medical journal that they were linking eye and throat cancers to the chlorine that's in our water, because we're standing there, it's right in our face, and we're breathing that in and causing issues. So we want to get rid of that any way that we can. So just doing that is helpful, but it's not going to solve your problem with your clothes or fixtures or faucets or any of that. So
is that kind of like some of the stuff that you do as you go into somebody's house and kind of evaluate where they want to be and
Yes.
like what filter they want? And
I go in with the heart of a teacher. I'm more about education. I want to assess the whole situation. I want to test their water. If they have a water system, I get a sample of water from the outside water, and I test that, and then I compare it to what their system is. So I show them exactly the numbers. This is what you have coming in. This is where you're at with your system. Here's what I can do that's a step better, that we can make it. We want to bring it down a little bit farther. We want to take more things out. You're obviously, I'm here because you're not happy with what you currently have. It's not working. It's struggling or whatever. You're still having water issues. So that's what we want to address and look at the whole picture. I had a customer years ago. He was a doctor, and he had a water softener. He had a filter. He had a water softener in there, and I went and tested it. And he was getting from 1 to 3 grains of hardness, and he's like, "I'm not spending money on this. This thing's working just fine." I said, "It is," but then sometimes it doesn't work because it has to wait till 1 o'clock, so you still get some hard water in there.
so how much water is it then creating to use during the day before it has to recycle?
So that's based on your hardness. That's also based on the type of system it is, because there's multiple types of systems. There's a timered unit, a water softener, and a timered unit goes off every 3 to 5 days, whether you need it or not. It just regenerates. It regenerates at 1 o'clock, takes an hour and a half. So even if you're not staying in the home, you're gone on vacation, it's still there cycling, and it uses anywhere from 10 to 12 pounds of salt and 60 to 80 gallons of water when it cycles. They're the least efficient and the least expensive of the
that's
water
a lot of
softener
water.
family. That's what you find at the big box stores. They're going to sell those. They're just basically a timered unit. Better is a metered unit. A metered water softener will count how many gallons of water you use, how many people are in the house, how hard the water is. When they say, so they're counting the number of gallons you're using, and it's based on how your hardness. So if your hardness is at 15 and they say, all right, we need to regenerate every 500 or every 600 gallons of water. So it's based on that. So when it gets to 600 gallons, it goes, hey, I'm done. And it has a reserve of about maybe 30, 40 gallons. Hopefully that will last until 1 o'clock in the morning when it rinses. But if that's laundry day, and it runs out at 8 o'clock in the morning, all day long as you're using the water, the hot water tank starts to fill up with hard water. Now you're using hard water. It's getting back into the house because it ran out of the reserve. And now we have this flip. Now you get all that hardness back again. By morning, there it is. It's back again on the cold side. But anytime you use water, when your hot water tank filled up, or even your tankless water heater was exposed to all those hard minerals all day long. So it starts to build up stuff again, and you start to see that corrosion and stuff building on your faucets. We refer to those as a part-time employee. Here's what makes the Kinetico water softener different from every other system on the market. It has 2 tanks of resin instead of 1. There's no batteries, no timers, no computer chips. It's a water meter. It counts the number of gallons. So it softens on 1 tank, and when it says, hey, I'm done, Instead of waiting till 1 o'clock to rinse, it immediately switches tanks. Continues to give you clean water. It's the only system on the market that will use clean water it's already made to rinse it off. So it uses 9 gallons and 1 pound of salt instead of 60 and 10 on a traditional water softener. It's rated as the world's most efficient water softener. It's the only one that cleans itself with clean water and works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a full-time employee, not a part-time employee like a regular water softener is.
That sounds like
That's the difference.
Yeah, that sounds like a no-brainer. Why
Yes.
would someone not go with that one?
Some of it's about education, some of it's about costs, and we're not even the most expensive out there. There are a lot of single tank water softeners that are being sold for thousands of dollars more than what we're selling our system for. But it's about education. There's so many companies that are selling that product. But Kinetico's been around for 56 years, 100% made in the U.S. in Newberry, Ohio. We're sold by franchise dealers. The dealership here in town is Aquazona Kinetical, family owned and operated for 40 years. I've been with them for 30 of those years. We're going to be here, take care of you, service your equipment, monitor it when necessary. So Kinetico has this great corporate structure, all these smart engineers and scientists. And then our products are wrapped in blankets of patents for the last 56 years, so nobody can touch us. And so they can't. We're constantly developing that product, so it's unique to Kinetico. And so that's what makes us so different is that. But then we have 290 franchise dealerships, family-owned businesses that live where you do around the world. We're in 120 countries around the world. We're the leader in the industry for a reason because of our products and our dealerships and the way that we operate and the products that we sell. So we're the only dealership here in town. We cover Maricopa, Pima, and Pinell County. I can't sell, if you lived in Iowa and wanted to buy a system from me, I can't sell you one. I'd recommend to the dealer there. If you live in Flagstaff and wanted a system, I have customers that have cabins and they buy one here and they want to buy it there. I'll have to refer them to the dealership in Flagstaff to get the system because we'll honor our dealerships. You can sell them one because then they maintain it. They're going to take care of it, not me.
I have a buddy in Minnesota that needs one because his water
it's terrible.
It's iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full of iron. You take a shower and it's just like you're showering in blood.
Right. And see, and in Minnesota, they have a bigger iron problem. Ours more white calcium and magnesium. White is not as scary as red. Red is terrifying. And even though the hards may only be 3 or 4 grains of hardness, because it's built up of iron, people are more called to action than they are because it's leaving stains on the sinks and the toilets. You flush the toilet and it's just orange water in there. It's gross. They're going to do something about it. Some of my best customers are people that have coming from Minnesota out here as winter visitors because they all have water softeners and most of them have had a Kinetico out there. So they come out here and go, oh my gosh, this water is just as bad, but it's different bad. It's a lot harder, but we get all this white garbage instead of all the orange stuff. So it's just trade-off. What are you looking for? Where are you at? So we have a lot of our customers. We do a lot of winter visitors that come in from other states because they're the ones that recognize how bad the water is. People that have lived here their whole life, they've just dealt with it. And so it's not that bad. I would say half the people in our B&I group don't have any type of filtration because it just doesn't matter to them. Oh, so I have to put a new kitchen faucet in every 3 or 4 years. Big deal. It's not that expensive. It would be cheaper, but we're looking at every plumbing, fixture, all of that kind of stuff we want to protect. We want to protect your laundry. Your clothes will last longer. You use less soaps, less cleaning supplies, all of those type of stuff. So it saves you money in the long run.
But it's not just the faucet, though, like your water heater, right? Because it collects all that.
Yes, the water heater, your dishwasher, all of that. When I walk into a house, one of the first things that the lady of the house will show me, she'll walk over and is like, look, and she opens her dishwasher up and like, I scrub this thing all the time. I put vinegar in it, but it's white streaks, especially on a stainless steel dishwasher. If it's a white one, you're not going to see it as much. But if it's a stainless steel, you got streaks of all that hard mineral in there because they turn back to a solid when they're heated up. And so they're just sticking to everything and they get on your dishes. If you go to a restaurant and you pick up the spoon that you're eating with and it's got water spots all over it, you think, hey, that's a clean kitchen in there. No, you assume the kitchen's dirty because the spoon's dirty. Why is my spoon dirty? Because they have hard water. So I would say at least all the big restaurants all have some sort of a water softener, water filtration in them.
I worked in a restaurant for like 3 days, and then you'd have to sit there with a towel and get all the hard water off.
Because they didn't have a water softener.
Yeah.
They were paying you to be the water softener.
Yeah.
Here, we want you to clean all these spoons so people aren't going to complain about it. Same with the glassware. They're using glass glasses. The reason a lot of restaurants will have a glass that's frosted, it doesn't show that stuff up. You can't see it as well. So if the glass is frosted, so we're in all the major restaurants with our corporate account. So all the Red Lobsters, the Olive Gardens, the Longhorn Steakhouses, all of those big places all have the Kinetico system in them. So I like going to those kind of places. The Chick-fil-A's, we're in all the Starbucks in town because they know, hey, if we have good water, we're going to have a better product. Starbucks, when they moved to Arizona from Seattle, Washington, 25 plus years ago, they struggled. They're like, oh my gosh, your water's terrible out here. We can't make good coffee in Arizona. They ended up triple purifying the water. We're in 95% of all the Starbucks out here. That's why their product tastes good. It's got
That's
good
why when you're
quality
thirsty,
water
you go to Starbucks.
Yep, there you
Yeah,
go.
just grab some water there.
Yeah.
Why go to the gas station? Just go to...
No, you can go, and because the water changes, we look at a number called the total dissolved solids. That's everything else in the water. If it's above 500 parts per million, that's considered not consumable from the EPA. Our water out here in the valley is from 180 total dissolved solids to 1,500. So it goes all over the place. Right now, we're averaging Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, we're averaging in the 650, 670. So 500, they say, is not consumable. So the cities don't care how hard it is. They make sure that it's safe. There's nothing above the maximum contaminant level. So arsenic, lead, radium, barium, chromium, all those things are in our water. As long as they're not above the maximum level, the government says you're fine. Don't worry about it. So they make sure that level is okay. But those contaminants are still in there. So if you have health issues, any issues like that, it can be caused or actuated because of those hard minerals and stuff, or the stuff that's in the water, things that could be dangerous to you that you don't even know are there. So we want to remove that stuff. We want to get rid of it and make it better. So
Yeah, so they're saying that it's fine, but clearly it's not fine.
yes. Now I'm going to try
your water, yeah.
I'm talking too much and my throat's getting dry.
What about bottled water? So you got this. So what's the difference between like this water, Arrowhead,
So if you buy a bottle of water
Fiji, and all that? Yeah.
and it says it's purified by reverse osmosis, the legal definition of purified water means that total dissolved solids, the TDS number, is below 35. So the Aquafina, the Dasanis, even the Fry's bottled water from Walmart, the Costco brand. I test a ton of the Costco brand. They're typically in the 20 to 25 range on the TDS, so below 35. The bottled waters, Arrowhead water, is 250 on that scale. It's 11 to 12 grains of hardness. Arrowhead water is a spring water. It's the highest of all the bottled waters that are out there. It's just a better tap water than what we have here. So if it's 10 to 12 grains hardness and a TDS at 200, that's better than our hardness at 15 and our TDS at $600 or $700. So 600 or 700 TDS. So it's better than that, but it still tastes like dirt to me. I don't like it. I don't care for it. But then you get like the Fiji waters. Fiji water's a spring water, and it's coming from a little bit better source, but then they're bottling
Because
it.
Fiji comes from like another island, not Japan, Fiji.
Yeah.
It's a little island in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
Fiji.
And it's an aquifer that's from an old volcano, and that water is good. It tests typically in about the 50 to 70 range on the TDS of the spring waters. Crystal Geyser, some of those are usually in the 90s. They're not as bad as Arrowhead. Arrowhead's the worst of the bottled waters. Here's the problem with any bottle of water,
not like
including mine. It's the plastic. It's the delivery system. Mm-hmm. And then we look at things like microplastics. Microplastic is the big new buzzword going out there the last couple of years. And a microplastic is anything else that's in the water. So this bottle of water, if I tested the TDS on this right now, the TDS would be about 12 on this water here. Good water. If I leave this bottle out in the hot sun for a day, and then I test it. Now it's at 30, 35. Same with any bottled water. If that heats it up, that pulls the stuff out of the bottle itself and the plastic. So I have people all the time, why don't you sell that water? This is fantastic water as far as bottled water goes, and it's in a quality bottle. It's all solid, and it's a good bottle because we use the highest quality plastic we can, but we're not in the business of selling water. We use that as a delivery system to hand you a bottle, say this is what it'll taste like coming out of my drinking system, and this is what you can expect. But we want to then on the backside, we want to have, okay, how can we get that water? We want to produce that water in your house. We want to put a system in that'll make it taste better than bottled water. So you don't have to have plastics. Now you can have your hydro flask. Now you can use that, fill up your bottles, put it with your kids. You're not exposing them. We're exposed to plastics every day. We want to reduce that exposure. And water is one of those ways we could do that. So by treating it ourselves. So there's 4 levels of filtration we can do on any house. 3 of them with the system we put outside in the garage. Pre-filter, remove sediment, sand. To our 2 tanks of resin, I've added 2 tanks of carbon, CCRM, chlorine and chemical reduction medium. Remove the chlorine and the bad taste. That's the 2nd level. Then we run it through the resin and we soften it, taking the hardness from 15 grains down to 0 to 1. Then we want to purify it. The water in the house is drinkable from the Kinetico or regular water softeners. They say don't drink it because it's added too much sodium to the water. So when we have purified water, that means that TDS is below 35. Your tap water, if we're in the 650, I might drop that by 20 to 30 points. Sometimes it goes either direction, just depending on the time of year where it's at on there. But it tastes better. Tastes better than it does now. So getting a drink of water at night, take a pill at night, it's going to be fine. You can drink that. Regular water softeners, they say don't drink it because it's added too much sodium. 10 pounds instead of 1 that we're doing with the Kinetico. But
sodium's good for you.
Yes.
It helps you retain water.
In smaller amounts. Yes. So, but too much sodium is not. But typically the sodium in a water softener is not that harmful. We want to then purify the water. Purified water means now we're removing the contaminants. Now we're removing things like arsenic, lead, radium, barium. This lowers the TDS and makes it taste better than bottled water and has a separate faucet on your sink because the delivery system. So if there's someone telling you they can give you purified water from every faucet in the house, they're lying. It can't happen because you can't run purified water through regular plumbing because it'll actually pull the impurities out of the plumbing itself if you run it through copper pipes or regular fixtures. So that's why it has a stainless steel faucet. It's run through high quality polyethylene lines where we're not leaching out any microplastics and stuff through those type of lines that are in it. So, and that's, if you put in a whole house purifier, they're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have one, but you're going to give up at least 2 spaces of your garage, and you better have a spare bedroom that our technician can live in because he'll be at your house all the time because they can't, and they're so expensive to maintain. We don't need purified from every faucet. We want really good soft filtered water, and then we want to have good drinking water at the kitchen sink or at the main bathroom sink, any place like that, in the game room. We have some houses, people have more money than they know what to do with, so we have them in multiple places and put them in because they want to be able to have good water wherever they go to drink. So.
Yeah, I got lucky. We moved in to our house and there was a system in the garage and then like a RO system under the sink. So that way the drinking water would be even better.
Yes. So then the drinking water takes care of what you consume, where the whole house filter takes care of laundry, dishes, skin, hair, your appliances, all of that type of stuff. And then the drinking water takes care of you and your body and what you're putting into it and helps to protect it even further. So
we also have like a bottle of minerals that we can squirt into the water to remineralize.
Yes.
And then we do those little salt packets. We put more salt in. It has like sodium, magnesium, and
right. So those packets like that, they're a food grade quality mineral. because the stuff that's in water that we removed was inorganic. That's not good for you. Your bodies can't absorb it. So when we replace it, we're replacing it with a mineral that our bodies can absorb and that it's good for us, because we can't absorb those other type of minerals. They just don't. Our bodies reject them, and so that's a good use. I prefer to get, and people complain all the time, hey, your water softener does that. I have a mineral filter that we can add to my drinking system that puts a food grade quality mineral into it. Most people don't like it because it makes it taste more like Arrowhead water sometimes, because now it's got that minerally taste. I prefer to just have purified water and then get my minerals from other source. Take my vitamins every day like I do, add other stuff, add supplements to my water if I need to do that. So.
Now, when we've got a new system in, and then you get like that, it's like slippery, slimy feeling.
Slimy is a bad marketing term.
Right.
We prefer silky smooth.
Silky smooth.
Silky smooth. Here's what's happening.
I kind of like it. It was at first, it was weird. And then it's kind of like, if I don't feel that in my water, I'm like, what's wrong with my system? I need to adjust it or something.
So here's what's happening. When you have hard water, all that stuff that gets in there, it clogs to the point. And I do a thing where I put 5 drops of soap in hard water and shake it up, and it's got all these floaties in there. All those floaties are then that soap that gets into the pores of your skin, and they build up in the pores of your skin. So then when you're washing, your skin feels dry all the time because you've got all that soaps and stuff in there. So when you shower with soft water opens the pores of your skin. And all that for the first 2 or 3 times, you've got all that extra soap that you've been using in there. So number one, you've got to reduce the amount of soaps you use. If you're using a cup of laundry soap, go to a 1/4 cup. Handful of shampoo, nickel or dime size. Reduce, and cut back on what you're using. So if you're doing that, but then all that extra soap comes through after the first week or 2, now it's just you. It's your natural oils actually come through because your pores aren't clogged anymore. So now it feels great. I had a customer years ago that he'd had a water softener for 20 years, not one of my products, and I put a Kinetico in his house. He called me up. He goes, "There's something wrong." I said, "Why?" He goes, "I'm not sliding down the drain." I said, "Well, how's the water feel?" He goes, "The water's fantastic." So I go out and do my follow-up visit about a week later, and I test it. It's 0 grains across the board. I said, "It's doing exactly what we want it to." I said, "It's just not using so much salt, so it's not near as slick as a traditional water softener, but we're getting the hardness out, so it's not near as slimy as that." So that's why we prefer silky smooth. Silky smooth is the key word there. Yep. So
interesting. So then my system's probably running fine.
Yeah.
And it's all good to go.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to come out sometime and just test that. And I do that all the time with people. We'll check your system. We'll see what it does. I do a free consultation and look at it and show you what it's doing and what it's not doing, and then compare. Okay, this is where you're at. Those type of systems, because they use hard tap water to rinse that still has chlorine and hard water in it, they last 5 to 7 years out here is typically their lifespan, because of the amount of hardness and stuff that they're taking a lot of abuse, and they're in the garage where it's really hot too. That also contributes to the electronics and stuff in those systems going bad prematurely, because right now your garage is 110, 115 degrees down there. So that adds to the stress that's going to put onto the system itself. Then the resin wears out. So I get 15 to 20 years out of the Kinetico because they clean with clean water, and then we don't have any electronics on it. There's no computer chips or anything to have to heat up inside there. It's all mechanical. It's counting the number of gallons, and it has 2 tanks, which is one switch to the other. Full-time employee versus a part-time employee of every electric on the market, including the one I sell. We sell one. They last 5 to 7 years. They're just good. So back to that story about that doctor. He had a good electric system. It was working. But then he went and he was complaining that his kids had eczema really bad and they were itching. He's like, he had to give them Benadryl and stuff sometimes to get his kids to sleep at night because they were just itching so bad. They went and spent a week at his father-in-law's place in Gilbert. Really nice big house that he had while they were on vacation. They spent a week there. He goes, it stopped. All of their itching, scratching stopped. And he had my Kinetico system in his house. And he called me back up and he said, "Could that really be the difference?" I said, "Yes." So I went and put a system in his house. He's now had them in 2 other houses when he's moved. He's like, okay, I will never go back because the consistency, I always have soft water. We use less water, less salts, so that all those things can contribute to those other issues. So that's what makes it different. In the eczema community, which is out there and their knowledge, the Kinetico dual tank system is known as the one that works for them and that will actually work all the time and do a better job than most people have because of the consistency of it and being a full-time employee. Because they notice if it doesn't get a little bit of hardness in there, they're noticing immediately on their skin. So we want to be more consistent. That's the difference. Nothing magical about it. It's just a better mousetrap, basically.
Right. And it's been around since the 50s, you said?
It's been around for 56 years. So 1970
years.
is when they started. Yep.
Is there any, like, I mean, it seems like it's holding up pretty well within the technology of water treatment for homes. Is there like a future to like new tech coming out, or is this what's going to be holding up for there's no need to change?
And they've constantly developed stuff. So like my K5 drinking system, that system has evolved in the last 50 years. And so it used to be a really good RO system, but now it uses clean water that it's already made to rinse off the membrane. Regular ROs use hard tap water because they don't even have soft water, because usually on a builder loop they still have one faucet without soft water. That's your cold side of your kitchen sink. That's what it's using to rinse off the membrane on your RO. It takes 7 to 12 gallons to make 1 gallon. Mine uses 1 gallon to make a gallon. It's using purified water out of the tank that's already made to rinse off the membrane. So it's using that clean water. It's the same concept. So that's one of the advances that they've done on that. And they came up with that system about 20 years ago. Because of that, it's more efficient, takes more stuff out, and keeps that membrane longer with a 10-year warranty. Most membranes on ROs have a 1 to 3 year warranty on them because they're using hard water to rinse it with, and it just destroys them and they waste a lot of water. So that's some of the technology that they're constantly developing, those type of things. And on that system, we can give you medical grade, biologically pure water. The best example I can give you is DuPont Chemicals since the 70s has been polluting the water at Air Force bases. We had problems out here at the old Williams Air Force Base, which is now Mesa Gateway Airport out here. I was delivering bottled water there in the 80s when they were getting ready to close the base, a truckload every other day. They weren't drinking the water then. And when they closed the base, they spent millions of dollars, the government did, we, the people, to fix the water to make sure it was below the maximum level, so there was no contaminants. It's still below the maximum level. There's still stuff in that water, things like forever chemicals. A forever chemical is something that stays in the water. PFASs, there's 45 known of those. My drinking system is the only one that's certified to remove all 45 of those at 99.999%. So that's some of the advances as the contaminants have gotten worse. So at Camp Lejeune in the Carolinas, that's kind of ground zero for the PFASs. People have been dying of cancer, over 10,000 people since the 70s, birth defects. It's a horrible situation. So billions of dollars in lawsuits. They said, okay, DuPont, you paid all these wrongful death suits. You've taken care of all these people. Now you need to fix the water. There's 25,000 homes on that water supply. They can't sell their homes. They can't even use it. They're having to truck water into the neighborhood just to use the water to bathe in. So as part of the solution, they said, okay, either you need to buy all these homes at market value and pay to relocate all these families, or you have to fix the water. The only solution they could come up with that was acceptable to the CDC, the EPA, a dozen government agencies, and over 400 attorneys, is they're putting that Kinetico 4-tank system in every house and paying for it for the next 10 years as part of the lawsuit. And 3 to 6 of my drinking systems, because it's the only one that'll actually remove all those contaminants and give you that bio-pure water. So that's the system they're using to solve very difficult water supplies, because it's a high-end system. Nobody else can touch it. No one has anything even close to it to be able to do that type of treatment on it and what it can actually remove from the water. So,
wow, that's a good payday, I guess, for the company.
Well, that dealership's doing pretty good, but I don't envy them. That's a lot of work. They had to build a warehouse right in the neighborhood, and it's constant. And they're going in and changing those filters every 6 months because of the extra water use and stuff that they're putting on them, and the number of contaminants in there. So it's a huge process just to get it to deal with, and the people aren't happy. They're happy once they get a system and put it in, but you're dealing with attorneys and everything else because it's part of the lawsuit. But it's good that there is a solution, that we can be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Right.
And help take care of them. So
I was going to ask you how long you've been doing this, and you kind of gave me a hint there.
I've been in the water business 42 years. I started back in 1985. So
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. Oh gosh, now you're making me feel really old.
I felt I was old too. Getting there.
So I probably have children older than you. But when my wife and I got married, she informed me that she was a water snob and she'd only ever had bottled water her whole life from crystal bottled water. So we contacted the guy that was delivering to her family, and he came and put a water cooler and stuff and give them bottled water at our house. Well, I'm in school, we're struggling, I lose my job. So I was working for an entertainment company, and so we're like, okay, I said, the water guy has to go, so tell him that we got to stop. And so she tells him, hey, Russ lost his job, we've got to stop the water delivery. And he says, hey, we got an opening down at the water treatment plant. And he's like, oh, great. I went down and applied down to Crystal Water, and trained in water technology and delivered water for them, worked there for 7 years. It changed the course of our life. I always tell my wife, it was a good thing that you were hooked on water, not on drugs. I'd have been your drug dealer instead of your water guy. So, at least it was a legitimate need that you had to have your water. And then I transitioned and I trained in plumbing technology and started installing water softeners for companies. And then I found Kinetico over 30 years ago, and with my plumbing business, I installed their systems. I installed for a dozen other companies, and so I saw everything out there. And then I realized how Kinetico treated their customers. Their equipment was different. I took out the old Culligan I had in my house and put the Kinetico in, and that system was in the house I sold. It was over almost 30 years old now, and it's still there as far as I know. So they just work, and they're very consistent. The one I have now has been in 2 other different houses, so we just move it with us when you have to. So good systems, good company. We're not perfect, but we're going to take care of it. I was at one of these home shows here a couple of weeks ago. There was 45 water companies there. And then there's all the AC companies and electricians, they're all selling a water system too. Cleaning ladies, it's amazing how many people are selling some sort of water device out there. So people were coming up and going, everybody's telling us they're the best. Are you going to say that? I said, no. I said, what am I going to say that? I said, I want you to go on Google reviews and look us up. I said, we have over 1,500 5-star Google reviews in the last year, more than all 45 of these other water companies combined. I said, our customers are saying we're the best because we're consistent, we're going to take care of you, we have good equipment that's actually going to do the things we're saying it's going to do. So that's where it comes down to.
Sold.
That's why I'm in the water business,
Yeah.
So, and why I'm with Kinetico and will continue to be. So my wife said, are you going to do anything else? I said, I'm too old to do anything else at this point in my life, and I love what I do. I like helping people. I like being able to go in and solve a problem. I love going into a house where they've been told they can't put a water softener in, and because of my plumbing background, I'm like, let's see. And I get stumped once in a while. There's no way to run a drain. There's some crazy situations where we just can't. Townhomes and condos are the biggest culprits with that. But I was at one just about 2 weeks ago, and she'd had 3 companies out that said there's no way she can put a system in, and I found a way, and we had to have a drain run. So I called Josh Carroll with the Jet and Drains and had his guys go out, and they went out and ran the drain for me and got the drain in and stuff. So now we can put the water system in their house. So I utilized some of those other resources to do it right by the customer and get a good drain put in that was there. So customer's happy as a lark because now she can do something that she was being told she couldn't do from other companies. So that's where my background and plumbing experience come in. I can usually solve the problem.
So you and Josh get together pretty well.
Yes.
Talk plumbing.
And I appreciate Josh because most plumbers they can buy a water filter at the plumbing supply store. Everybody has access to those, and if people ask him, "Hey, will you put a system in for me?" They can sell him a system and put him in. And the relationship I have with him, and the problem I have with other plumbing companies, is I would call them and say, "Hey, I need you to go fix this lady's drain, or I need you to run some. Her house needs to be repiped before we can put a water softener in." And they go in and they take my job. They'll talk him into buying another piece of equipment when I gave him a really good job, and that's just not ethical to me. I'm giving you work, don't take my work from me. So it's good with BNI. BNI is great because we respect the boundaries with each other, and even though he could sell them the filter, he knows better, and he's going to go in there and he's going to do the problem and take care of their water heaters or whatever. And I've worked with him now on 3 or 4 different jobs and projects, and it's been fantastic. And his guys are good, and they'll call me up and we can talk the plumbing talk and figure out what needs to be done and how it needs to be fixed. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
That's probably like really good to have that background in what you're doing.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
Because there's other guys on the street that don't have that. They
Right.
just started maybe a couple of years ago, and they're the ones that are telling the homeowners.
I'll go in and look at someone's plumbing and go, "This is what we need to do." It's like, well, those other people didn't even mention any of this. It's like, I'm gonna price it, and this is what it's going to cost us to do. And if you call a plumber out here to do that, they're going to charge you a lot more than that, because we're going to include. We're buying a system from us. So we're going to include that install as part of that for a percentage, but not charge you as much for the install if we're just putting the loop in the house or pre-plumbing it. So
with having Josh in our group, if you do come across maybe a situation, you call him up and say, "Hey, could you do something with this plumbing?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I've probably given Josh more referrals than anybody else in the group because of that relationship and my need for an honest plumber to go in and take care of stuff, because my plumbers are good. They do installs and stuff, but they don't do extra stuff. I had another customer before we put her drinking system in. She wanted a new sink and she wanted a new garbage disposal and a faucet. Well, my plumbers aren't going to do that. They're so busy just putting in our systems that they don't have time to do it, and they're not really licensed to do that. So I sent Josh out and his guys, and they took care of that. They got it all set up and ready for us, and now we're going to go in next week and put in her drinking system and hook it up for her. So, and instead of going out, like another plumber and say, "Oh, you don't want to buy that, buy one from me," and they'll sell them as another system, and we're gone, So there's enough for all of us, let's work with each other and not against each other. So I've had multiple plumbers over the years that have burned me and taken stuff away, and that's why I appreciate BNI, because we have a code of ethics there, and we're not going to do that to each other, and we're going to stay in our own lanes. So it's good.
Yeah, I do like BNI for that.
Yep.
We do get to have better people.
And he respects me. If he has a customer, I've gone to a couple of his customers that have wanted something that's different, and I'll go in and present and say, "This is what we can do. Your system's not working. Here's why. Here's what I can do to fix it." So it's all good.
How long have you been in BNI?
2 years. I'm going on my 3rd year right now. So, and I like it. I started. It was something that the company suggested I get involved in a networking group, and it started back in the summer when things were slow. You need to be out there doing more stuff like that, And I wasn't really keen on going out and knocking on doors, because that's not a real productive place to get referrals and stuff from. So I chose the BNI route, and it's been good to me. So I'm upping now for my 3rd year to start over again with them. So it's been good.
Good. Yeah.
How do you like it?
It's good so far. Yeah. I enjoy going in every week and trying to do a 30-second pitch. It's so terrible, but it's something I work on.
One of these days, what you need to do is you need to practice it here and do your own thing, and then just take a video and show us the video on the big screen of your 30-second presentation.
That has been on my mind for a few months now.
That would be
and I need to just do it. I got my setup right there.
Yeah.
It's just going to film it.
Do it. It would just do. This is a series for the next month. I've got 4 series, and so you've got it preset. You just click, and you don't have to think.
Yeah.
You do great one-on-one talking in front of the microphone. But, sometimes I do that. You get in the ring, oh, crap, what was I going to say? And your mind goes blank as you're standing there. You got 50 people looking at you. It's hard.
It starts out with like, all right, here's my plan. Here's what I'm going to talk about. And then people start talking. I'm like, oh, I should say that. Oh, no, I should do that. And then it gets all crazy. And then it's my turn. I'm like, okay, let's get my thoughts together. And then halfway through, I'm like, I forget what I was going to talk about. Right. And then it's like, well, that's my pitch.
Yeah.
Like, I do video. If you know someone that needs a video,
right,
call me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think it would be awesome if you had a video and you just played it.
All right.
That would be.
I'll get that done.
Yeah.
Because it's like BNI's over, and then I get in here and I'm like editing, I'm out shooting, I'm doing stuff, and then all of a sudden it's Wednesday again. I'm like, I was just here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So then I'm going in, putting my shoes on in the parking lot.
Sometimes I don't even think about my presentation until I'm sitting there at the table like, oh, yeah, it's time to do something. I got to think about that. And so sometimes I'm more prepared than others. And it's hard sometimes because you feel like you're saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
There's only so things I can say because I can only talk about water and water treatment and different things. But everybody has that same problem.
Right.
We can walk the dog. We can we need pet food for Shelley. Everybody has their own things that they have to do. And I love Terry and her. I'm going to tell you whatever day it is.
The daily holiday.
It's a daily holiday. It's an awesome way to then tie it back into flowers. Any holiday is a good day to give somebody flowers, and so it's cute that she has, and she's always prepared. She has to look that up and figure that out. So I think that's been a good niche for her to be able to pull that out too.
Yeah, as I go in, I always try to think of, all right, so there's new people here that have never been here before, and it's like, I'm going to say it on their behalf because everyone else has heard your stick. But even people come up and go, oh, I didn't know what you do. What again?
Right.
I'm like,
right.
Okay.
I have the same problem. People that have been in there for 2 years and I'm going, you do water? Haven't you been paying attention for the last 100 presentations that I've done? Mm-hmm. That we talked about that. So now, have you done your 10-minute presentation yet?
It's coming up in like a couple weeks.
Okay.
My first one. It took 6 months to get all 4 of my training.
Oh yeah.
One-to-ones done, and which was supposed to be like 4 weeks. So scheduling was a challenge.
I'm glad they're doing that now. I didn't get that. I had to seek out some people to try and get information. So that mentoring program this last year has taken off and is a lot better than it was.
Okay.
They've adjusted. They realized that was something that was lacking. So I didn't get a lot of that experience. I had to go find those people and ask questions and trying to figure it out on my own. So it's better now that they have that mentoring program. They've done excellent in making sure that the new people are adapting quickly and can get in there when they can. So
yeah, I hear different stories from different people. Maybe I'll talk to Neil when he's in here about that before he gets replaced. If he gets, I don't know if he'll get replaced. He might, but they want to cycle people.
Yeah.
So nothing against Neil. But
it was Dr. Kevin before Neil.
Was it? Okay.
And then before that, it was Ross Jackson, the banker who just left our group.
Right.
But
so it seems like some people have different information, and it's like I think they're need a refresh on what the system is.
I think that happens when they change the leadership group too. When they do that, okay, and maybe they recognize a problem that wasn't really noticed or anybody didn't know it was a problem, and hey, under this new group we're gonna focus on that and fix that. And so I think it's good to have that refresh every year with different positions and different things. So
and that might be a Kristen Gear question and topic or discussion with, since she's because like recently I've been going to other groups too on other days, and they're different. So there's no real structure.
I like our structure.
I guess we're a flagship one. And I went to another one that was like much smaller. And I don't, it's like not that everyone has to be the same because each group is different. We have different people. So it's like fine that they are different.
They have certain things they want you to accomplish and do, though,
Yeah.
and I like that they hold it together. They start right on time at 8 o'clock. Otherwise, they're not going to get finished by 9:15. I don't want it to dragging out because a lot of times I'm squeezing them in on Wednesdays. Every other Wednesday, I have a sales meeting I have to be to at 9:30, and so on that Wednesday, I leave right after the meeting if I can. So I try to get all my conversations in before the meeting's over because and I've got a 10-minute drive to get there, so I've got to be out in my car and go. And that was part of and they knew they moved my meeting. The meeting was at 9 o'clock. They moved it to 9:30 to accommodate me with my BNI meeting, so that I could go to that and be there every week. So so sometimes I have to scoot out of there if it drags on. It's like, I want to leave early or something, but it's been good. I like it. Have you liked it? Have you gotten referrals and stuff yet coming in, or?
I got one from Tobler. Greg.
Uh-huh.
And a few people have talked about doing something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
They've all been waiting to get some other ducks in a row. I don't know if I should pressure them or not, because it's like they're always like, "Well, you're not selling to the group," but I'm like, "Nah, the group needs me."
And where it comes from is, as I struggled the first year because I didn't get anything. I finally got one referral at the very end of my first year that I was able to sell the system to, and before that, I'd gone into, and I haven't sold to anybody in the BNI group. It's been other people that they've referred to me that I've been able to sell now, but it's having them be top of mind. So it's the outside people. I want to be aware of if I'm going into someone's house and they say, "Gosh, I always wanted to do a podcast. I don't know how to do it." Great. Now I know that's a great referral for you. Or they're saying, I've got this new business. Hey, have you ever looked at putting a video out there or putting together some other media stuff to help with that? To me, I look like we're good referrals for you.
Yeah, or like constant content for their social media.
I'm in houses every day.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to people, business owners, small business owners, people that are entrepreneurs, and then people that work for other companies and stuff, but sometimes want to branch out on their own. So I'll hear that buzzword, occasionally. Hey, I'm doing this, or I'm going to start a podcast, but I don't know how to do it. I bought a microphone and want to put it together. Well, maybe here, let's see if can help you with that.
Yeah, I could definitely go in.
Professional.
It's probably better for me to go and set their system up for them.
Yeah.
I could do lighting, get their levels right on their mic and their camera set up right, so they look
then they can just do it themselves and
just turn the flip the switch.
Yeah.
And then you're rocking and rolling.
That's huge. And just looking at this and the setup here, you've got some natural light coming in.
That's not a real light. That's not a window.
That's not a window?
There's a light back there. That's a fake window.
That deceived me. I thought, wow, how did you have a window there in that corner? But now I can see it's not. Okay. See, that brings more light into the studio that you wouldn't see. It looks like there's natural light coming in.
I had this at another
you do
location.
It at night. You would know the difference.
You would know the difference. At the other location, there was a real window, and I had the setup like this, and so but I didn't want to change the look of anything. So when I moved it here, that's just the corner. So I just had to put a light there. I got the shades from somebody on Facebook Marketplace for a couple bucks, and then
yeah, that's awesome. And you have your faux.
There you go.
Nice. You can turn the sun off.
Yeah, make it brighter.
Your faux record player back there with a.
Yeah, my wife got me that little.
I love it.
Thing, anniversary thing, I think it is.
Very
this is a mixer, old mixer before they put recorders in them. That's about when I first started. It was my first field mixer for audio recording. And then my neighbor was throwing this stuff away, and yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
You got my few business books here. You got What Great Brands Do, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I speak a little bit of German, so I got my German dictionary.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then everything is on the Word of God.
All right, there you go. That's awesome.
So, yeah. My grandma got this banjo when she did a taxi service in Lake Havasu, and the guy left it in the trunk, got on an airplane, and never saw him again. So now I have a banjo.
I took banjo lessons for a while, but it's not really. And I thought about growing a beard like you have, and just becoming a banjo player, but just never happened for me.
You got time. You could start now. Just on the side, do little gigs.
And this is someone no one behind I knows yet, but my family, I come from a family of 12 kids. I'm the fourth of 12 children, and my dad started a family band.
Sorry, say that again. 12.
12. I have 7 sisters and 4 brothers.
That's wild. That's a lot.
So it is a lot. It is a lot, and we're a lot. We're loud and proud. But my dad one year came home and we were sitting there. We just had an old TV with the knob on it. This is in the early mid 70s, and he's like, "You guys watching that TV?" So he unplugs the TV, takes it to a pawn shop, and trades it in, and comes back with with 2 microphones and a recorder and a little mixing thing, and said, "Learn how to sing, guys." And so gave us microphones, and we started singing and started playing with that. We didn't have a TV for 5 years in our house. We learned how to sing.
It's so much better.
And we traveled around. We weren't the Jackson 5 or the Osmond brothers, but we didn't have that kind of talent. But we were unique and we were decent. So we sang. We did a lot of trailer park. We'd go to these little trailer parks and do the shows and stuff there. And it was just this little family band. We traveled around schools, and it was small potato stuff that we did.
What'd you play? You played something? Or you just sang?
Mostly sang,
Okay.
and that's when we tried to get me to play the banjos. So because my singing voice wasn't the best of the. I was the brother in the back that. I was more the equipment guy that handled the equipment and stuff, or stand in the back. And, I always felt like my dad was saying, "Turn his mic down a little bit." It's just one of that. So anyway, that my brothers were definitely more talented, and my sisters than I was. But that was a unique thing that our family did. And that's how, because of a big family, we never went to Disneyland. We got to go to Disneyland because my dad worked a deal that he would get us all in and get tickets, so we went and performed there. So we performed at Disneyland in the Carnation Theater there, the big out there, did a 2-hour show. And so that was awesome at the time as a teenager to go and be able to do that, go to the back lot of Disneyland and, so good times.
Yeah, I don't sing. That's why I have all these instruments. So they would have turned my mic down too.
Yeah. That's funny. So were you in a band?
Oh, I've been in a number of little groups throughout my years. I went to school in NAU, and I had a buddy there. He played guitar and sang, and I would do the keyboard or the bass and whatever needed to be doing that.
So do you play the piano?
A little bit.
Okay.
I was a bass performance major in college before I switched to a film degree. So that you have to learn piano.
Yeah.
It's part of becoming a musician. So I've got a little bit of there. I'm not like crazy good, but good enough to do some things. I could play with both hands and do different stuff. I need to learn that ragtime, so see if I can do the ragtime thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the test. I do a little bit of drums. Bass was my main thing. Well, I played tenor sax in high school, in marching band.
Okay.
And then I did bass for jazz band. And so that's why I was a bass performance major. So then I was in a black metal band after college because my dad worked with this guy whose son was doing a band and he was doing black metal.
Nice.
So I was in that. That was pretty cool. It was fun. That was probably like the biggest, like we went out and played more actual like bigger shows.
Right.
We played like the Orpheum and stuff like that. But then, egos and stuff, it dissolved into nothing.
Typical bands.
Yeah. And then I had another guy, it was like during COVID, I recorded a bunch of music, and then he put vocals to it, and then we put that up on Spotify. So
Nice.
we never played anywhere. It's all just like recorded stuff, but
It's amazing how things are different than they were even 40 years ago. So when I was starting in the entertainment business, I was part of what they called the Southwest Record Pool. And a record pool was, we had a group of local DJs, and for all the clubs, the radio stations, we had like 45, 50 DJs at any one time, kind of like a BNI group. But they were all in and had different jobs in the music world. So we negotiated with all the record companies. And so they would send us these 12-inch vinyls with just one song or two songs on it. So they would send those out to the record pools, and we would get those, and then we would listen to them, and then we'd send these 50, each got one of these in the mail. Every week they'd get a stack of these records in the mail. So being part of the group, they had to listen to the songs. They had to rate it 1 to 5, different things. Did they like it? Did they not? How likely were they to play it? And then if they started playing it, either on the radio or in their club or at their mobile shows that they were doing, then that's how music got broken then. How you'd break a song is you'd get it out into the clubs. And so the one that we were most noteworthy was Madonna. When she was a nobody, we got this. Her first song was Borderline that she put out, and we put that out to all of our clubs, and within about 2 months it was getting radio play. Once you get radio play, when you start in the clubs, and then when people are calling into the radio stations and asking for it there, and then it hits, and then it goes, and that, so they became number one. From here we broke that song and made a big deal about it, that and so that's how music started. Well, now you just get online. If a new artist and stuff, they can post something on TikTok, and if they're good, and if they've got talent, and they can keep producing stuff
for whatever odd reason,
all of a sudden, they can say a weird story, and all of a sudden they've got a million views, and they're making serious money on it because they're some oddball person that's doing something. But even the real talented people, they have more platforms than they used to be, and even the ones that have to go on American Idol or something like that to get a really big fast platform to move it instead of just doing it virtually and online. But back in the day, it was records. We had hundreds of boxes filled with these, because there's 1 or 2 songs on these things, but they're dance mix and they're for clubs and stuff like that. So I don't look like a guy that worked with that type of stuff and did I'm a good Christian man, but a lot of guys I did, there were some nightclubs and stuff that I rented my equipment and stuff into, and but it was good. It was a tough industry, and I made a choice. There was that point where I was losing that job. I had the option to, and I actually quit that job because I was being headhunted from LA record companies and stuff to go there and work, and I just decided it wasn't the atmosphere I wanted to raise my family in. I didn't want to, I went and visited some of this stuff and took a trip up there. I thought, this isn't where I want to be. This isn't who I am. And because there's a lot of nonsense that goes on in those kind of things, and I wasn't willing to compromise my integrity as a person, and so I thought, you know what, I can find something else. I'd rather go someplace and work for somebody and do something else than hopefully make it big in this dog eat dog world. And the only way to do that is to lie and cheat and steal a lot of times. So
backstab and all that stuff.
I backed out, and I didn't take that path. But one of the last things I did was we were rented equipment. There was a club in Phoenix called Hot Bods, which was an alternative club back in the day, and it was we rented a big projector because they had a contest going on, Mr. Leather, 1985, that they were hosting at this club. So I'd always been there to dance for this Mr. Leather contest, and so I rented the equipment, some lights. We went and set up the projector and the big video screen because that was a big deal. In '85, that was still new, very new technology. So we set it up for him, and then I'm got it all ready for him. And the guy comes down. He says, "Hey, my DJ just called in sick." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, he can't." He goes, "Would you step in? Would you host the party tonight?" I'm like, "You kidding me?" It's like, "Look at me." He's like, no, we need you. We need you. So I was like, he was a good friend that I'd known for a while. So sure. So I hosted Mr. Leather in 1985 at this gay club in town, and it was quite the experience. That was one of the last big things I did. I thought, I'm good at this. I could do this, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So I just that was probably my big decision maker to step out and not be that. So and not be part of that lifestyle, because that's a lifestyle. There's a whole group and some amazing people, but not where I wanted to be and raise my kids. And my wife was pregnant with our first daughter at that point, and it's like, I'm about to become a dad. I got to do something else to provide for my kids than this. So
Yeah, good choice.
that was a choice I made.
Yeah.
That's a rough world.
Yeah. Cool. I like it.
Yeah.